I'm Christine Lisi. Quarterback Deshaun Watson today reported for his first offseason program with the Browns. No sign of QB Baker Mayfield. The Browns are looking to trade Mayfield. Watson, accused of sexual misconduct in 22 civil lawsuits, faces potential discipline from the NFL. With his Nuggets down 2-0 to the Warriors in their first-round NBA playoff series, Coach Michael Malone urging his team to stick together and not splinter in adverse times. Last night's loss included frustrated Denver players bickering on the sideline. Nuggets look to bounce back in Game 3 at home Thursday night. They do have a tough road ahead, explains ESPN's J.J. Redick.
Nuggets need more of a sense of urgency, especially defensively. There needs to be a trust and ball movement on the offensive side. They've got a real uphill battle to climb, but that trust and that ability to lock in for a game, attention to detail of the game plan, lock in, the intellect required, as I mentioned, to beat the Warriors. It takes a lot.
NBA fined Brooklyn's Kyrie Irving $50,000 for directing obscene gestures and profane language at Celtics fans during Game 1 Sunday.
If you're experiencing a spring hiring rush, then you need Indeed. Their powerful all-in-one hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, we are chock full of stuff today. Pontiff Classic tonight, Pels Suns Game 2 tonight, and a whole lot of other good stuff going on. There is there's another mock draft out there that we'll talk about. There's also an opinion of a starting quarterback in the NFL that perhaps for which the Saints should trade. We'll talk about that. I don't think it's going to happen, but any possibility needs to be discussed. So we'll talk in hour 3 about the possibility of the Saints trading for Kyler Murray. Don't laugh. It's not that crazy of a thought. I don't think it's going to happen again, but we'll get into that coming up. Jake Madison in 15 minutes will preview Pels Suns Game 2, which will go down tonight out in Phoenix. Let's start, though, with giant news today involving LSU football. So, people often ask, what did you learn? What have we learned so far through spring football? And I think what Brian Kelly has learned through spring football is just how paper thin he is at cornerback, which necessitated today's news. And that is that LSU has landed a commitment, and not only a commitment, but the signature from Sevyn Banks, an Ohio State cornerback transfer. So Sevyn Banks started his career at Ohio State, and today, after entering the transfer portal and then ultimately he did declare for the draft and then withdrew, has now today pledged to LSU and signed his paperwork. He is officially an LSU Tiger. It's interesting because just yesterday on the show, we talked about, literally yesterday on the show, we talked about when they added Nick Storrs at tight end, how with thin numbers, how the real need wasn't any tight end anymore because you'd hide that. Really what they needed was cornerback, offensive tackle. And this had been whispered about a little bit that LSU was going after Sevyn Banks. So I don't think it was a tremendous surprise that the news came down today. But before spring practice, Brian Kelly, again, we played this for you yesterday on the show. Brian Kelly was asked by me what positions they were still looking at in in the transfer portal, and he mentioned 2.
I think our depth situation at tight end is a concern of mine. I think that's an area that we need to continue to build on, and not sure that it's a quick fix. I think it's something that we're still going to have to look at. And there may be some people that are on our roster that might have to change positions and play that position. We're going to have to address it one way or the other. So it's still a concern. There might be some movement there in the transfer portal after spring ball, but it is a concern. We're not done on the offensive line. That's still an area that we're actively involved in as well. So I would leave it at those two areas in particular.
So the head coach before spring said the depth at tight end is a concern, and they might look at the transfer portal. And he said point blank, we are not done on the offensive line. And he finished the bite by saying those 2 areas. Like, that was the answer. Those 2. You get out on the practice field and you realize your 2 transfers are your starters. Jarp Bernard-Converse and Mekhi Gardner from Oklahoma State and ULL, respectively. Those 2 guys are out there. They're running around. They played a lot of football. But after that, you don't have much. Well, Jarp Bernard-Converse breaks a bone in his foot. He'll be back for the start of the season, but he misses the rest of spring. And you look around and you go, oh, wow, this is really, really thin. To put this into perspective, Jarp Bernard-Converse in his career has played in 51 games with 47 starts. That's the 5th most in the history of Oklahoma State football. 47 consecutive starts, by the way. Mekhi Gardner, 26 games played, 19 starts in his career at ULL. Banks, Sevyn Banks, who they just added today, played in 36 games during his 4 years at Ohio State with 15 starts. Again, so the 3 transfer cornerbacks, I'm not even counting Brooks and Fouché, the 3 transfer cornerbacks you've added, 47 starts, 19 starts, 15 starts. Every other cornerback on your roster, every other returning player at corner on your roster, Demarius McGee, Raydarius Jones, walk-ons. You're bringing in 2 freshmen, LaTerrence Welch and Jordan Allen. All the other cornerbacks combined, 1 start. 1. It was Demarius McGee in the bowl game. You know, the bowl game when you had 39 players. That's it. Brian Kelly may not have thought that position was a giant need going into spring, but once you got out on the practice field and you realized that the 2 transfers were all you had, oh yeah, you needed to supplement that position in a hurry. And so Sevyn Banks was in the portal. They made a push, and they got him. If you're looking at numbers, that's 30 signees. Remember, because I know everybody doesn't follow recruiting all the time, and that so those of you who know this, forgive me, it's just something you learn over time. Not everyone is deeply ingrained in recruiting and rules and numbers and how that works. You can sign 25 in a class. It's a hard cap of 25 in a given year. This year, because of COVID, the NCAA allowed, in this year only, teams to sign 7 over the 25 in a 1-for-1 transfer, meaning you had 7 transfers go out, you could sign 7. If you had 5 transfers go out, you could only sign 5. If you had 12 transfers go out, you could only sign 7. It was capped at 7. So the most you could sign was 32. Obviously, LSU far exceeded that number, so they could sign 32. The 25 initials and the 7 1-for-1 on the transfers. So right now, they're at 30. They signed 15 high school kids, and this makes 15 transfers. So you had 2 spots left. They had 2 spots left. Remember, they've added Jaden Daniels, and now they've added Sevyn Banks. This is since signing day, of course. So they're at 30 with 2 spots remaining for this class. So they can still, between now and the start of next season, go out and sign an offensive lineman if there's one that they covet. If there's a tight end prospect that they're looking at, they could certainly do that as well. But, you know, I look at this position and where LSU is on the roster. Yeah, you went and added Nick Storrs. We talked about him yesterday. That's not your answer at tight end. That's a body that gives you depth and just another body there. That's not your answer. Certainly not a long-term answer. You pursued Tyler Steen, the Vanderbilt transfer. You didn't get him. That doesn't mean you're done on the offensive line. If there's an opportunity to add another offensive lineman, you do it, especially someone with experience when you're losing 4 starters and the 5th guy, Cam Wire, seems to have just gotten beat out by a true freshman at left tackle. And now at cornerback, you've added Sevyn Banks. And listen, a big part of this spring also, has been trying out other guys at cornerback. You've tried Jordan Tolles, a safety, at cornerback. You've tried to cross-train Greg Brooks at nickel and out at the boundary. So they're looking for answers because they need them, and they got a big one today. I don't know how it's going to work out as far as who starts and what positions they go, and they're going to have to mix and match, and that's going to be a big challenge for this defensive staff to make it all work and make all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. But this is a big addition at a massive position of need that Brian Kelly didn't exactly know was that big of a position of need until they got into spring ball and realized just how thin they were. So Sevyn Banks is on board. He was a 4-star prospect coming out of high school. He's the 5th transfer defensive back this offseason, if you include the 2 guys from Arkansas that we mentioned. Started 15 games at Ohio State, played in 36 games. He was behind a whole bunch of really talented guys there when you think about Jeff Okudah and some of the other first-round picks that they had. Damon Arnett, Kendall Sheffield at Ohio State. Finally got his turn late last season, got bit by the injury bug, declared for the draft, then ultimately pulled from the draft, entered the portal, and now he'll finish up his career 1 season to go, and he'll play it in the purple and gold at LSU. All right, it's after further review. We'll get more reaction to that. Bobby Carpenter is going to be with us in hour 3, former Ohio State alum who does radio in Columbus now. We'll get more of an insight on Sevyn Banks, what type of player he is. That's coming up straight up, 5 o'clock Central to start hour 3. Game 2 tonight, Pels and Suns out in Phoenix. We'll preview with Jake Madison next. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. I always share great testimonials of what our friends and neighbors have said about River City's 1 Hour Air. This is a 5-star review that came in just 3 days ago from Judy Singletary. It said, Joseph, her technician, performed my annual AC checkup efficiently and courteously. He kept me informed of his findings along the way, noting any options. I chose to get Freon added and installing a float switch. This was all done to my complete satisfaction. Joseph receives an A+ in my book. How many times has a technician come to your house for any industry and you've given them an A+ or been willing to write a review like that? With River City's 1 Hour Air, it happens all the time because for 40 years, they've made that their profession. Look for the big yellow trucks and vans with a giant clock on the side. You'll see them all over town because they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front to Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
If you're in a an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
You know, I think as a group, we didn't have a great first half. And that wasn't one individual, that was us as a team. We have to be better. We have to do the things that we do better, harder, with more force. And see where we are after that.
Willie Green, shoot around before game 2. Pels Suns tonight. Jake Madison, host of Locked On Pelicans, joins us now. He's on Twitter at NOLA Jake. Hey, man, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully the Pelicans can get a win tonight.
I'm hopeful, man. Realistically, coming into this series, I was kind of hoping they'd steal a game, right? Get a game. What do you think is a realistic outcome in this series for this team?
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the best case scenario, the best realistic scenario for New Orleans. You know, this is a 1-8 matchup. That's not something that the 8th seed usually wins or is even truly competitive in the NBA. And it's unfortunate the Pelicans, you know, aren't just happy to be here. They feel like they can at least compete in this series. But the Suns are the number 1 seed in the West for a reason. They have the best record in the league by 8 games this season. They're almost a near historically good regular season team so far. You know, this was always going to be an uphill fight for New Orleans. So a gentleman's sweep, it being 5 games, getting 1 win, I think is nice. But this series for New Orleans, though, again, they're going to go out and they're going to try and compete. They want to win. They think they can win internally. But this is probably more about development, about these guys getting that playoff experience and trying to improve over the course of 4, 5, 6, hopefully 7 games. And so as long as you're seeing them play better every single game, making adjustments, being more competitive, I think overall that's kind of the win, in my opinion, for this franchise and my expectation.
Jake, you heard the comment from Willie Green there about the slow start. To what do you attribute that slow start on Sunday?
You know, it was a number of things. Part of it is just that the Suns match up particularly well against the Pelicans, and I think you're seeing Willie Green still kind of be in a little bit of a regular season mindset with his rotations and his lineups. The playoffs in the NBA are an entirely different animal, and you usually go with a playoff rotation, not the rotation that you ran through 82 games in the regular season. And so you saw them go with that big starting lineup with Jackson Hayes at the 4, Valanciunas at the 5, and that was just basically played off the court as quickly as possible. And it made the Pelicans really easy to defend by one of the better defensive teams in the league. So it was just them not really kind of going in, I think, with the best game plan. I've seen a lot of people point to that number of missed uncontested shots that the Pelicans take, but I think that was a misleading number in this one. They had 18 uncontested shots in the first half, but 11 of those were were from 3, and they are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. So even though they're getting those wide-open looks, it's not like they're normally going to be making those sorts of things. And by playing those 2 big men out there, you know, they just left Jackson Hayes in the corner, and you saw the Phoenix Suns not even defend him at all, where they threw Chris Paul on him to kind of hide him there, and it made life more difficult for Brandon Ingram, for CJ McCollum. It took away any sort of court spacing whatsoever, and you saw those guys feel really uncomfortable in that first half. So a lot of it was just kind of rotation and lineups, and a lot of it was also just the Phoenix Suns are better than the Pelicans.
So if you were to – and Willie Green was asked about any potential lineup changes. Maybe he was just being coy. Kind of brush it off. What lineup changes would you like to see?
Yeah, I talked about this in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. I don't know if you necessarily need to change the starting lineup, and I'm kind of guessing that he won't, and we'll see Jackson Hayes out there. But you at least need to change what those lineups are doing, I think. You can't just leave Jackson Hayes, a 7-foot big man who is a great offensive rebounder and a lob threat in the pick and roll. You can't just park him out in the short corner and expect teams to defend him. They're going to sag off of him because he's not a three-point shooting threat. You saw them in the start of the second half, the beginning of that third quarter when they played much better in game one, use him more off ball. They had him cutting. They had him trying to kind of at least put some pressure on the defense. If you do that, I think you can run that same starting lineup out there for maybe 4 minutes before making a quicker sub. But this is very much going to be a series where their wings come into play. A guy like Trey Murphy, who was almost a catalyst in a sense, in opening up that lineup for this Pelicans team in the third quarter. They were getting points. They outscored the Suns 37-26 in that one because the court was spaced better for Brandon Ingram, for C.J. McCollum, and there were threats out on the court that the Phoenix Suns had to respect. So guys like Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall need to be getting more minutes, I think. And certainly a guy like Larry Nance Jr. has been key to that as well. I think he had 9 points in that third quarter. Going with that small ball lineup, put DeAndre Ayton, their big man, who's blocking shots left and right and contesting the rim unbelievably well. Get him out in space a little bit and see if Larry Nance Jr. can use his athleticism and ability to drive to the rim more so than Jonas Valanciunas can. I think that just at least puts more scoring threats out there on the court, and that should make things better overall for the Pelicans offense.
Jake Madison, the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast. Make sure you subscribe however you get your podcasts. Every weekday, Pelicans podcast. Check it out. He's on Twitter at NolaJake. Chris Paul went off in the fourth quarter. We all know that. Can he dial that up whenever he wants in this series, or do they have an answer?
I'm not sure. That was a tough one, right?
Yeah.
They were going under on screens for him and giving him space to shoot the three. Obviously, that might not be the move again in this game where he had 19 points in the fourth quarter. Look, they call him the point god for a reason. So, yeah, he can potentially just do that. And if that is happening, there's no answer. I don't know if any team in the league would have had an answer for the way Chris Paul was playing in that fourth quarter right then and there. But they probably need to try and do something a little bit different. I wouldn't be shocked if those minutes when it's Chris Paul out there but no Devin Booker, that they blitz to get the ball out of Chris Paul's hands. Throw two at him, make him force a pass to a guy like Jay Crowder who didn't play and shoot particularly well. And at least if Jay Crowder beats you, you shrug, and it wasn't Chris Paul, and you feel better about your chances of that happening. I think that's something they really might try and look at doing. Maybe throwing Herb Jones on him more in the fourth quarter. They started with Herb Jones on him, and as long as Herb was on him, he didn't need to do a whole lot. In the second they didn't have Herb Jones on him, you saw him go crazy a little bit, so you might see some of their minutes mirroring each other. And then I also think they need to attack him on the defensive side of the ball. They were hiding Chris Paul on Jackson Hayes because Jackson Hayes wasn't doing anything. You need to try and get Chris Paul matched up against a guy like C.J. McCollum or on a switch against a guy like Brandon Ingram because he does struggle a little bit as an isolation defender these past couple of years. So put him on defense and make him feel uncomfortable and make him burn up some of that energy so he doesn't have the ability to unleash it all in the fourth quarter, I think, could be a good strategy for the Pelicans as well.
Jake, you might have just answered it, but is there a matchup? I know it's such a matchup problem with Phoenix. That's why they're the best team in the NBA. But is there a matchup that you would key on tonight and say, watch that here in particular in Game 2?
Yeah, it's definitely the Chris Paul one. I think if they can force him to defend, that limits his effectiveness on the offensive side of the ball, right? We saw it with Drew Holiday for years when he was just being that insane defender. Sometimes you just didn't have the energy to go out and try and score consistently and set other guys up so he'd disappear there. Make Chris Paul burn some of that energy that he just had in that fourth quarter throughout the entirety of the game. He looked fresh. It looked super easy for him. He was in command of that game while the Pelicans were starting to flag a little bit, I think. And so if you can kind of key in on him defensively where he is a bit of a liability, he's not that elite defender that he used to be that's just due to age and injuries catching up to him to a certain degree. Try and take advantage of that. You can't let a guy like Jay Crowder really just be all over Brandon Ingram the whole game or McCall Bridges all over a guy like C.J. McCollum all game. You need to try and create some mismatches to make life easier for C.J., to make life easier for Brandon Ingram. And I think that's going to really be a big key for this team trying to generate some offense in this game. And offense was the problem. I thought they were pretty sound defensively. They just struggled to score because they made things too easy for the Phoenix defense. So you've got to stop making it that easy for them.
Hey, Jake, before you go, I don't know if you had a chance to interview Herb Jones's shoulder to see why so viciously attacked DeAndre Ayton.
Man, I caught part of the national broadcast on that, and you could very clearly see that none of that was intentional. He tried to jump to avoid him. It was just, that was ridiculous, man. Come on now. Do your scouting report on these guys, right? You do this. You do a couple-hour show every day here, right? The name of the game is prep work, isn't it? You got to do all that prep work on the front end. You know Herb Jones isn't malicious if you do that.
Bro, everybody, do yourself a favor and watch the Bally broadcast if you can. I get not everybody has access to it, but if you can, don't watch the national broadcast. Watch Joel and watch Antonio Daniels.
You can sync up the radio broadcast.
Thank you.
Well.
Oh, exactly. Or sync up graph. What's the local broadcast? It's just gonna serve you as a Pelicans fan better.
It's funny, there's an old joke, right? It's like a guy goes to see a doctor, goes, "Doctor, it hurts when I do this," and so the doctor goes, "Stop doing that." That's kind of this is what I tell people when it comes to listening to Reggie Miller and some of these other guys. Don't.
Well said, as always. And you should always listen to Locked On Pels. Make sure you subscribe however you get your podcast. He is Jake Madison on Twitter at NolaJake. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on that.
All right, man. Be well. Jake does a great job. If you don't listen to the podcast, you should. It's 20 minutes of Pels content every day. So check it out, Locked On Pelicans. But it's so true. I know a lot of people got triggered by Reggie Miller's comments, which I later saw on Twitter because I was watching the Bally broadcast. Watch the local broadcast. And if you don't have Bally Sports New Orleans, that was a great comment by Jake. Sync up the radio broadcast to the national broadcast if you have to. But just you're going to be better served by the people that know your team better. The national and this isn't a knock on national broadcasters. It's just their job is to have a surface level knowledge of all teams. The local broadcast is going to have a deep knowledge of your team. It's going to more closely mirror your knowledge of your team. And so you're going to enjoy that broadcast better. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're with us here. Brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Blue Bonnet, Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey, and Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Beach pool season are almost here. Want to drop a few pounds? Need to look and feel your best? Ideal Protein. If you need to drop those LBs. Maybe you got some hard-to-reach areas that are just stubborn, that belly fat or whatever it may be. VeloShape, UltraShape, non-surgical procedures there. Vaser Lipo. Dr. Howell has won national awards for his HD Vaser Lipo procedure, which is minimally invasive with no downtime. It's all at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Blue Bonnet, Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey, and Lafayette. Online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. All right, it's after further review. If you want to join us, you can always tweet the show at Matt Moscona. You can jump,
Twitter world.
Hey, Juice. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat and the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. You can text us in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can jump aboard with us. So please feel free to do it. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, go around the SEC. And if you missed it, Stuart Mandel over at The Athletic had a piece today where he and some athletic reporters from The Athletic. I'm not calling them athletic reporters. They're reporters from The Athletic. Because most reporters, as we all know, are not athletic. That's not a knock. It's just reality. They got a hold of several NIL contracts, and some of the numbers are startling to people. And I want to react to it. We'll do that when we come back. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. For 60 years, our friends at Clegg's Nursery have been doing amazing work serving the greater Baton Rouge area. And you know where they are with 4 locations: Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. If you follow Clegg's on their social media, you will see every single day, the amount of flowers and the truckloads of plants that get unloaded every single day at their nurseries. Could not recommend highly enough that not only you follow Clegg's on all the social media to keep an eye on what's new over there, but just get by Clegg's. I tell you every day, just plant something. Just plant something. Nobody has a better selection than Clegg's. Nobody's been serving the greater Baton Rouge area longer than Clegg's. If it's flowers and plants and trees or shrubs, if it's Johnny Naylor's seeds or anything you need at a True Value hardware store, they have it at Clegg's Nursery. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, look what I found! The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport. I found my groove. I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why. Have you found yours?
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Stuart Mandel has a piece up today at The Athletic. And, the title alone is what grabbed so many people's attention. And it's essentially detailing NIL deals that a lot of athletes have gotten. The headline is a 3-star defensive tackle worth $500,000, a 4-star wide receiver, $1 million. The sticker shock of college football recruiting beyond 2022. You can read it up at The Athletic right now. And a couple of the things here that have really caught a lot of people's attention. And I'll just kind of briefly skim through the Cliff's notes of this because I want to react to it. He notes that The Athletic reviewed 3 recently signed NIL contracts, each with different schools, collective. Okay? So, again, the idea that Jimbo Fisher is rebuffing the fact that NIL deals are getting done with high school students with a school's collective to influence recruiting, it's absurd. I mean, you have so many people on the record acknowledging this is happening. For a coach to push back against it, it just sounds so stupid. It's like you walk outside in broad daylight and you say, no, it's dark outside. No, it's not. Mike Caspino is an attorney who spoke on the record to The Athletic. He says he's done dozens of deals for recruits in dealings with these collectives. He's executed the contracts. He's speaking again on the record. And Mike Caspino, this attorney, said 5-star quarterbacks, they're getting $2 million a year. Next most sought-after players, defensive linemen, edge rushers, they're getting 7 figures. The next is stud offensive linemen with quick feet. They're in the high 6 figures. Everyone else is a hodgepodge, but it's in the 6-figure range. Again, that's an attorney who's executing these contracts, who's doing this on the record. One Power 5 head coach, granted anonymity, told The Athletic, quote, we lost a kid on signing day over that. It hurt. 2 hours before the mom's telling me he's coming. Then she said, Coach, how can we turn down $300,000? You can't take it. I get it. End quote. Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? If you were listening here on National Signing Day, that happened with Jacoby Matthews from Ponchatoula. Jacoby Matthews was coming to LSU. Texas A&M's collective came in, boosted the money that they were going to give Harold Perkins, and he decided to go to Texas A&M. Can't blame the kid. When you come from a disadvantaged background and now someone's coming to throw impossible money at you to turn down, you take the money. I get it. So do most coaches. Here's what's going to be interesting to watch moving forward. USC does not have a collective. Notre Dame launched one Monday, but it's being marketed as a charity endeavor. It's not a straight collective like some of these other ones. The co-founder of a Michigan NIL partner said of paying recruits, quote, Michigan is not doing that. Chip Kelly said on the record, quote, that's not going to happen here, so we don't even discuss it. What you have is a pretty clear disparity right now between some schools that are willing to do this, some that are not, and some that flatly can't because they don't have the funds or the support to do it. Here's the thing that I would like to point out. Andrew Brandt, your former NFL front office executive, now works, with SI and on the business of sports. He tweeted earlier today, heard from a longtime NFL agent this week regarding NIL. He said, quote, Andrew, we used to have to fund these kids for years until their NFL contract. Now the school boosters do it. It's saving us so much money. It's awesome. Again, that is Andrew Brandt quoting an NFL agent who's telling you two things. Number one, we had to fund these kids forever. Two, we don't have to pay them anymore because the school's boosters are. If anyone is still out there and I don't know if anybody is, aside from Jimbo Fisher, like he may be on a lonely island. And he knows good and well the truth, and I don't believe that anybody actually believes him. But if you are anyone who still believes that NIL deals aren't being done to influence high school athletes, then I don't know what to tell you. Here's agents telling you it's happening. There are coaches telling you it's happening. There are attorneys executing the deals telling you it's happening. This is a report where The Athletic and 3 reputable reporters for that organization are telling you that they got contracts. I told you on signing day, I saw a contract for one player that ultimately signed with Texas A&M. Of course, it's happening. The thing that I'll push back against is there was one quote in this article from a coach, and the coach is a Power 5 head coach, said, quote, you're really guessing that this 18-year-old who has proven zero is worth $1 million from somebody somehow, however that money's getting there. Like, what the F are we talking about? Why even want to be associated with this? We're ruining kids, end quote. Again, that's from a coach. Major League Baseball pays high school athletes. The G League, international basketball, pays high school athletes. Olympic sports pay teenagers. Actors, musicians, entrepreneurs all make money hand over fist when you're good enough as a teenager. What's the problem here? Why laud the super talented high school teenage musician who gets a record deal and makes millions of dollars, but you push back against a high school football player being able to do it? The answer is, it's not the money. You're not ruining kids. It's not in any way about the money because it's not your money. You don't care. I don't care. That's not your money that's being spent. You don't care that that kid's getting broke off. What you care about is competitive balance. What you care about is someone else is paying that kid and now your team's not going to be able to win. That's what you care about. It's not the money. So call it what it is. You don't care about the money. It's not your money. You don't care about 18-year-olds getting paid. It happens in dozens of industries. Doesn't matter. What you really care about is if your team's going to be able to compete. So stop confusing the issue. Call a spade a spade. Nut up and start paying kids like everyone else is, or accept the fact that you're not going to win anymore. All right, let's go around the SEC.
Around the
I need to go get my
SEC,
chair.
presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Georgia Bulldogs.
I need an NIL deal for a chair. I try to go back to this when I can. That's all. Reserve defensive lineman Tymon Mitchell, 2019 signee out of Tennessee. He's placed his name into the transfer portal. 6'3", 297-pounder. Played in 2 games as a freshman in 2019. Played in 5 games this past year. He will have 3 seasons of eligibility remaining. That leaves Georgia with 12 scholarship defensive linemen for this season.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Speaking of transfer linemen, defensive lineman William Rogers announced Tuesday morning he is entering the transfer portal. Sorry, Paul. 5th Gamecock to transfer this week. Did not see any game action during the 2021 season. 2 other defensive linemen have already entered the portal from South Carolina.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Defensive lineman Caleb Herring has committed to Tennessee. He's the number 1 high school player in the state of Tennessee for the 2023 class. Defensive end is the number 63 overall player in the country, the 8th best edge rusher. His older brother Elijah was one of Josh Heupel's first commits for the class of 2022. Tennessee beat out Auburn and Georgia for the top 100 recruit.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Guard Rocket Watts has entered the transfer portal. Watts played 19 games with 1 start for the Bulldogs. Began his career at Michigan State, where he played 2 seasons. But 6'2", 180-pound combo guard. He was the number 39 overall prospect in the country for the class of 2019. He will finish elsewhere.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
Basketball guard forward Aaron Cash has entered the transfer portal. Lone season in Aggie land, predominantly came off the bench. Prior to arriving at A&M, Cash averaged 15 points a game at Grayson College. He's the 2nd player to enter the transfer portal this offseason from the Aggies.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy has landed a commit from UC Davis transfer guard Ezra Mangian. He was all Big West first team in 2022, averaged 15 points a game. He's a 5'11 guard. With guard Scottie Pippen Jr. declaring for the draft, Mangian could take over the point guard position as well. He's got 2 years of eligibility remaining.
The Florida Gators.
And Florida has added former VMI junior guard Trey Bonham, 6 foot, 170-pound guard from Mobile. Bonham averaged 13 and 4 this past season. Bonham is the 3rd transfer commit for Todd Golden's Florida team. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends Gulf Coast Office Products. They're online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. They proudly sell the Sevyn line. They're a national leader among Sevyn dealers, but they service all makes and models. You have issues with your office equipment, call Gulf Coast Office Products, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it's after further review. We'll talk to Feinswog in about 30 minutes from right now. Again, Bobby Carpenter, former Ohio State linebacker, he'll be with us to start hour number 3, about an hour and 15 minutes from right now. We'll talk about Sevyn Banks, the Ohio State transfer cornerback that's now jumped aboard with this LSU football class. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back and wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers. Little Pond of Classic action tonight. They're at the box, LSU, ULL. If you need a place to watch the game, of course, you can get by either Pluckers location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet, dine and carry out or delivery. If you're heading to the Pond of Classic, you could always swing into Pluckers before the game. Grab some wings, a bite to eat before you go to the box. And remember, they're open till midnight or later every night of the week. So after the game, if you want to bite to eat late, you can do that at Pluckers as well. The Nicholson location is just south of Alec Box Stadium. So, I mean, if you're coming from the box, you come up to Nicholson, you hang a right. I mean, it is right there on the left. It's at Pluckers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Remember that Bluebonnet location has a 13-foot by 8-foot wall of screens. No better place in Baton Rouge to watch the game and eat wings than at Pluckers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Uber Eats, DoorDash. It's Pluckers. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Sevyn office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Sevyn have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Home Bank, Louisiana Land Bank, and Lucky Law Firm. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
Yeah, if you haven't done so yet, please do. And just so you know that with the Dreams Come True Radiothon, we have sponsor partners that pledge donations that unlock once we reach certain levels. So once there's $1,000 in donations, all the sponsors who pledge to match $1,000, theirs unlocked. 2,000, same, and so on and so forth. So Dreams Come True is an awesome organization. For a lot of years, we did the Radiothon as a traditional Radiothon where you'd call in and make a pledge. Just nobody does that anymore. It's so much easier just to go online and make your pledge. So all of our radio stations here at Guarantee Media, all of them have the Dreams Come True Radiothon flipper on the homepage. You can go there, pledge whatever you can. If you're not familiar, children that have life-threatening, terminal or life-threatening illnesses, they grant dreams for these children. And sometimes it's to go to a certain sporting event or to go to Disney World or whatever it may be. But all of the funds raised, all of them stay right here in Louisiana to benefit Louisiana children, Louisiana families. So if you can give whatever it may be, please do so. 1045ESPN.com. You'll see it right there on the homepage where you can give. All right, it's after further review. The Sunday Night Football booth has been announced. So look, I mean, it was obvious what was going to happen once Al Michaels left for the Thursday night game on Amazon, and I'm sure got broke off and is going to make a bajillion dollars doing that. We'll see what his contract is. We just know that the money for broadcast dollars now is just incredible. But Sunday Night Football has made it official. NBC has made it official. The Sunday Night Football booth will be Mike Tirico on play-by-play. Chris Collinsworth will remain in his role as the color analyst. And then Melissa Stark is going to take over as the sideline reporter. Of course, Michelle Tafoya had held that role for many years on SNF. I like the booth an awful lot. Collinsworth, it's interesting how people sometimes perceive certain broadcasters, but Collinsworth is as good as there is in the game in that role, seeing what and explaining what we sometimes miss. Tirico's fantastic. Interestingly enough, Mike Tirico left ESPN. Remember, Mike Tirico was the Monday Night Football play-by-play man for many years and left ESPN back in 2016. And NBC hired Tirico to be the heir apparent to Al Michaels. But then Michaels signed a new deal and is now into his middle 70s and is still as sharp as ever. So Mike Tirico, they kind of were just finding things for Tirico to do. Of course, he became a studio host for Football Night in America, and he anchored Olympics coverage, and he called Notre Dame games, and would call Sunday Night Football or Thursday night as well at times. So Michaels, who's getting older, didn't travel as much. So Collinsworth and Tirico have already called 21 games together over the years. So they have had a working relationship. And then Melissa Stark stepping into that role on the sideline. I'm telling you, College Matt is fired up to see Melissa Stark back. And if you're my age, you understand what I'm talking about. Like for forever and ever and ever, the sideline reporter was generally a former athlete. I mean, dating back to OJ and Lynn Swann. I mean, typically it was former athletes. And Melissa Stark, I'm not saying she was the first, but she was among the first that began to sway that to where you had reporters on the sideline. Look, I mean, Melissa Stark's still a beautiful woman, but like when I was in college, Melissa Stark was like, it was a dime. And then Aaron Andrews came along, and then you had this whole, it just opened the door to the field to female broadcasters, which has obviously been an awesome change, and she was one of the trailblazers. So really cool to see Melissa Stark back on the broadcast. And you have your new Sunday Night Football booth, which is the most watched television show in America every year. Sunday Night Football, or series, I should say, is Sunday Night Football on NBC. All right, it's after further review. Well, I got a quick break. SportsCenter's coming up here right after the top of the hour. Quan Alexander visited the Jets today. I got some thoughts on that. Of course, the big story today is that LSU landed a commitment from Ohio State transfer Sevyn Banks, and I couldn't help but think of our dear friend George Costanza.
It's a beautiful name for a boy or a girl, especially a girl or a boy.
It is. Sevyn.
I defy you to come up with a better name than Sevyn.
I mean, you're not going to find anything more original than Sevyn.
It's a fantastic name. It's a real original. Nobody else is going to have it, and I absolutely love it.
I defy anyone else to try to steal it either.
Why can't we use Sevyn?
It's my name. I made it up. You can't just steal it.
Got a lot of cachet, doesn't it?
I don't know how much cachet it had to begin with.
Oh, it's got cachet, baby. It's got cachet of the yin-yang.
There was a Seinfeld episode where George was telling Susan his hypothetical name for their hypothetical child, which was Sevyn. And today when I saw that Sevyn Banks committed to a sign with LSU, I mean, you know immediately where my brain went. Like, there's got to be a Sevyn drop somewhere in there. There's
it's a beautiful name for a boy or a girl.
There's one where they're in the car where he just, or no, it's actually when they're in the hospital, he yells, Sevyn! Like, that probably is the direction we're going to go. Stay tuned. Maybe a poll question ahead.
AFR.
Sports Center's next. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. That is Shawbills. If you need an oil change, take it to Shawbills. Maybe you're going on that family vacation this summer. Before you do, bring it to Shawbills. Get the oil change. Get the tires rotated. If that check engine light is on, don't ignore it. Schedule online at ShawBillsTire.com. You can schedule service online, or you can shop tires online at ShawBillsTire.com. I want to remind you, there's a lot of places where you can buy tires. There's the membership clubs. There's the big box stores. There's other tire shops. But none will sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices other than Shawbills. They have dealer promotions. They have their manufacturer's promotions as well. They'll combine them to get you the best deals possible on tires. ShawBillsTire.com. To find a store near you to schedule service or to shop tires, go to ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Stop complaining. 76ers big man Joel Embiid says that was the gist of his brief conversation with Raptors coach Nick Nurse after Philadelphia's Game 2 win. Embiid said he told Nurse he was a great coach, has accomplished a lot, but told him to stop complaining about calls. Nurse publicly took issue with how Embiid was officiated in the series opener. Sixers have a 2-0 lead and will likely make short work of Toronto, says ESPN's Stephen A. Smith, but he has a concern for Philly going forward.
James Harden doesn't look the same. He hasn't looked the same since that very hamstring injury he suffered last year in Brooklyn that you talked about. I'm not seeing a guy that can get by people with ease. I'm seeing the ball handling skills, but he can't get by folks. He can't shrug off defenders the way I was accustomed to seeing.
Stephen A. Smith on First Take. New Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson reported today for his first offseason program with Cleveland. QB Baker Mayfield was not seen at the facility. The Browns are trying to trade Mayfield but are finding a limited market. Watson, accused of sexual misconduct in 22 civil lawsuits, faces potential discipline from the NFL.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Jordan Poole has extended the Warriors championship window for another 5 years.
5 years?
5 years, man.
This and more. Wednesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Pontiff Classic is tonight, by the way. Our partners over at Hudco are out tailgating, including Hot Rod, Rodney Beloso. Cooked up a gigantic pot of jambalaya. So free jambalaya if you want to get out, if you're getting out to the box. Terrio's out there. It's in the bullpen lot. So if you know where the Marucci Performance Center is, which is basically the right field, down the parking lot down the right field line, you can't miss the orange Hudco tent. Terrio's there. Hot Rod will be out there. It's cooking. So grab something to drink. It's all free. Go grab a bowl of jambalaya. And if you want to talk roofs, maybe grab you a Hudco hat. So get on out. If you are heading out to the box, make sure you stop on by and see the guys over there. Hudco Roofing. Do business with someone you know. HudcoRoofing.com. So, one of the biggest talking points among Saints fans, certainly, has been Quan Alexander, and understandably so. When you start talking about the LSU guys who make their way to play for the Saints, they're always going to be fan favorites, and it's going to be something that it's going to be a big topic of conversation. Tyrann Mathieu has been that certainly this offseason. And Quan Alexander has kind of been a point of much angst as well, as he remains unsigned. And Adam Schefter earlier today tweeted that free agent linebacker Quan Alexander is visiting the New York Jets today. As a reminder, Quan, when he was in San Francisco with the 49ers, played for Robert Saleh, who was the defensive coordinator with the Niners before he became the head coach of the Jets. So you have some synergies there with the player and the coach that knows the player well, and vice versa. I mean, some former teammates with the Saints as well. I mean, Sheldon Rankins is with the Jets now, of course, who played in New Orleans with Quan Alexander. Justin Hardy played with the Saints, and with Quan is now with the Jets as well. So there are some familiarity. I know there's a lot of Saints fans that want the team to hurry up and re-sign Quan and bring him back to New Orleans, and I'm in that number as well. Like, I want Quan back in New Orleans. But the qualifier is that I want Quan back in New Orleans at the right price. Last year, Quan played on a one-year deal. A one-year deal that was worth right at $1 million. It was basically a prove-it deal for a guy who'd been injury-prone throughout his career and was coming off of an Achilles injury. I mean, he tore his Achilles on Christmas Day. Quan Alexander tore his Achilles on Christmas Day, so just shy of New Year's. And he made an incredible comeback to be ready for the start of the season. But because there was so much uncertainty about the injury, no one was going to invest a big contract into him. So he got a one-year deal with the Saints, and he got hurt again. He hurt his elbow or his shoulder, whatever it was, and missed a handful of games in 2021 as well, which really has been the story of Quan's career. When he has been healthy, when Quan Alexander has been on the field, he has been a really good player. Last year for the Saints, he started just 8 games. Played in 12, but started 8. He had 50 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and an interception. You are darn right I will take that from a guy in somewhat of a reserve role, starting just half the season. And if you were to take those 8 starts and the statistics in the 12 games, the 8 starts, and sort of extrapolate it over 17 games, now you're talking about a guy that's a 100-tackle guy, double-digit tackles for loss, in the 6 to 8 sacks range. Absolutely. You pay that guy. You love that guy, especially next to DeMario Davis, when he's a guy that can rush the passer, that can defend against the run, and can also drop into coverage. Quan's awesome when he's healthy. But that's been the problem. He's only played a full season once in his career. That was his second season in the league back in 2016 when he was with Tampa. Played in 12 games as a rookie, 16 games his second year, 12 games in year 3. And since then, he has not played in double-digit games until this past season. 6 in 2018, 8 in 2019. He played in 12 in 2020. 7 for the Saints, 5 for the Niners. And then 12 this past year. He's just not durable. What's the old adage? The best ability is availability. And Quan Alexander hasn't been available. So, do I want Quan Alexander with the Saints? Absolutely I do. But if Quan Alexander wants a big contract, the Saints can't justify that. I don't know what team can justify that for a guy that has never been healthy in his career. Great player when he's on the field, he just hasn't been on the field. So if Quan wants to come back on a deal like he just played on, give him a $1 million deal, a veteran minimum, whatever that may, maybe a little bit over, something incentive-laden, okay. But how can you guarantee anything with any length? And stunningly, Quan's only 27. Don't forget, he showed up at LSU as a young guy, played early, and left early. So he's only 27 years old, despite the fact that he's been in the league since 2015. So he's a young guy. He's a young man, but he just isn't durable. And that's why the Saints have had to really invest draft picks into that position. They drafted Zach Bond. It hasn't really worked out. But they drafted Pete Werner in the second round last year, and Pete Werner played really well. As a rookie, Pete Werner played in 15 games. He started 8, had 62 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, so he had more total tackles than Quan did, starting the same number of games, had 4 tackles for loss. That was as a rookie. I mean, I'll take that from a guy who was sharing time in a rookie season who proved he can get out there, run around, and make plays. The Saints invested a high draft pick in Pete Werner, and he proved them right, and he's healthy. So if you just assume he's your full-time starter, he's going to have a more productive year too, and you got him on a rookie deal. So, yes, absolutely, I want Quan Alexander back on the New Orleans Saints. That goes without saying. But I want Quan back at the right price. You can't justify investing a lot of money in a player that's just never been healthy, no matter how much you want him to be there. So if the Jets are going to give him the deal that he wants, then you let him walk to New York, unfortunate as that would be. And you start Pete Werner. It's why you invested the draft pick in him, and he's rewarded you so far through a year. And now you just take the training wheels off and see if that dude can roll. I mean, Jets want to give him a big deal. Great for Quan. Get your bag. Good luck in New York. But if he leaves New York without the deal that he wants there, he knows he's got a place here. He knows they know how to use him. He loves playing alongside DeMario Davis. He loves playing in this defense. So, come on. We'll keep you posted based on how that visit goes. But there's a reason the market has been very quiet for Quan Alexander. There's a reason teams aren't lining up to sign him. He's an injury-prone player who clearly has a big financial ask that teams aren't willing to honor. And the Saints shouldn't do it for any reason, for the same reason that no other team should do it. Hope he ends up back in New Orleans, but it's got to be on the right deal. We'll keep you posted. It's at Further Review. Glad you're with us here. Tuesday shows are brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net. Better coverage for less money. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. Feinswog's coming up here. We'll talk some beer with Lee, as we always do. Bottom of this hour, Mel Kiper and Todd McShay did a dueling mock draft where they just alternated picks. Like Kiper took the first pick, McShay took the second, and so on and so forth. And they did a 3-round mock. So we want to run through who they had the Saints taken and which LSU players they had going in the top 3 rounds. So we'll delve into all that at the bottom of this hour. Bobby Carpenter, former Ohio State linebacker, he's with us top of next hour, so about 49 minutes from right now, talking about Sevyn Banks, the new LSU transfer cornerback. Ton to do. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, where their express care locations are open 7 days a week. Walk-in urgent care. That's the Baton Rouge General express care locations. You could check in online at brgeneral.org. You can check wait times online at brgeneral.org. Remember, every clinic has an x-ray machine. They've got an EKG as well. They've got COVID rapid testing if you need that, maybe if you're traveling. You can get IV hydration. They've got the flu vaccine as well. They can even get you your physical for schools or for sports if you need it. It's at the Baton Rouge General Express Care locations. There's 2 bordering the LSU campus. One's on Nicholson, directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. The other is on Highland, just through the South Gates. You go south on Highland through the South Gates, look to your right, you'll see it right there. Got one in Dutchtown as well. Find the location nearest you at brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org.
Spring clean your garage with a newer pre-owned vehicle from Corval Toyota, where you never pay over MSRP. There's no markups, no gains. So reserve yours today. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not 1, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hey, Lee, how are you?
Good, Matt. I remember the text I sent you back earlier today, topics du jour, and then you bring one up about 15 seconds before we go on. I don't like that.
When do you ever prep?
Well, that's that. But no, a couple times I have, and you've actually praised me for it. But
that's true, actually.
The one or two times I really did.
You going to the spring game on Saturday?
Oh, please.
Well, a dumb question, of course. You'll be front and center.
I bet you're really excited to know that Vanderbilt is finally, after all these decades, getting volleyball.
No, not. But
they announced it today.
But I'm glad you met your quota. How about a ding? Let's get a ding for Lee's volleyball quota. There it is. Let's make that part of it.
I don't think I have.
Let's make sure we have a ding whenever we get the volley. Every volleyball mention, we'll get a ding. How about that? So are you in any way interested in anything happening in this spring with LSU football?
Oh, like every year, the quarterback. There seems to be a whole gunny sack full of them who are in the mix, and everything else is usually just don't get hurt, right?
What do you think about? What do you think about Brian Kelly throwing shade at Notre Dame's facilities?
I don't even know about it. How about that?
How about this?
You know how out of the loop I am.
So Brian Kelly did an interview with Ross Dellinger, Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
And
maybe the best sports writer out there now.
Sure, he's certainly on the short list. And Brian Kelly, I'm paraphrasing, essentially said that there were some things he wanted with facilities, like a chef for football only and things like that. And Notre Dame wasn't willing to give him that. And then Brian Polian, who came here with Brian Kelly, said, I thought our facilities up there were good. I thought we had it good. I came here and I realized we weren't even in the ballpark. So that's drawn the ire of a lot of Notre Dame people. But I just kind of think he's just calling a spade a spade.
Notre Dame people are easily offended as a rule anyway. But
not true.
There's a direct proportion to the amount of money that you spend on your football program in, first of all, recruiting, and then on the other things to the amount of winning that you do. There have been stories about that where it's documented. There's a ratio there. How much a recruit comes down to, not how much they're paying him, and not about NIL or anything like that. Just simply how much money the staff spends. And the very best teams spend the most money. And they also spend them on the amenities. Remember, it was Jerry DiNardo who first said it for LSU, that it's an arms race when LSU started with a practice facility way back when. And everybody upgrades their stadiums, everybody upgrades their facilities. And, there are people who think that it's kind of obscene and that if you had Notre Dame's facilities here, LSU probably would do just fine. But it's not the league they play in. That's what they choose to do and how much money they choose to spend.
So I had a question along those lines from someone on the text line before the show started and said, just to throw this out there, it was sort of a hypothesis. Said, because NIL money is running rampant and those willing to spend the money and have their collectives organized and and basically buy players as high school students, which is absolutely happening. And Stuart Mandel at The Athletic had a piece today where they basically chronicled that, and they had some attorneys.
Right, and that's the
speak
piece you referred to that I was joking about us
Right.
getting to, and I started to look at it, and I got like 2 paragraphs in, and then it popped up that I had to become a subscriber.
Effectively, what happened is the Athletic has a piece where they had an attorney speak on the record about the dozens of deals they've done, the amount of money that different positions are commanding, and then they did look at 3 NIL deals, the contracts from 3 different collectives with 3 different schools. So basically, they're laying out there exactly what is happening. And you also have some schools that are saying, we're just not doing that. USC, UCLA, Notre Dame. And the point that I'm making is that's fine if you don't want to do that. But if you don't, you're never going to compete. But the question that this person asked me about the Ivy Leagues was, because the Ivy Leagues have more money than anybody, could they just essentially do this and start buying players and be really good at football again? And I don't know what your feeling on it, Lee, but my feeling on that is the same as why Notre Dame's never going to be nationally relevant again, in the sense that they're not going to win a national championship, because they value other things more than they value football. And as long as that's fine if you do, but just understand that you're playing with an arm tied behind your back, and you're not going to be able to compete with the people that are playing with those rules.
But you can't compare Notre Dame to the Ivy League. I mean, certainly a Notre Dame degree is very valuable, but the Ivy League doesn't give athletic scholarships. Like a lot of D3s, but they're not a D1. They're D1, but like D3s, they make packages based on other things, but they don't give, pound for pound athletic scholarships. So that's not the arena they choose to play in.
But exactly.
Yeah, but Notre Dame does choose. Notre Dame, you mentioned USC and UCLA, they choose to play in the other arena. So the schools and the athletic programs that were first in and continue to be innovative and attract the most money for their student athletes through NIL have a distinct advantage. You have whole programs now offering base bonuses for football players, for example. And this will all trickle down to other sports. Can I get a ding? Volleyball at Nebraska. Thank you.
So you don't preemptively call for the ding. You just say it, and then he will respond with the ding.
Yeah, but do you think that he was going to get the ding if I didn't pre-warn him there?
No, but he'll get it in time, and I would have reminded him there.
Okay. There are some programs that jumped on this from the get-go, and I mentioned Nebraska, but the school Nebraska is where one of those pioneering NIL firms is. And they were first up. Now, whether that translates into great athletic success for the whole program at Nebraska, but there are so many instances now, not just the individual kids, the ones who are getting a ton of money are different. Why I think it's just wild is whole teams knowing that you go to this particular school, you start out with like, say, $6,000 a year because every kid on the football program is getting it. And there are programs that those kind of things are happening. I think about the Fab Five. Remember when they all went to Michigan? And as it turned out, they were bankrolled. But they were bankrolled, right, illegally. Now, I mean, I can't imagine there aren't going to be more Fab Fives in basketball, for example, where they just come on. And it's right out in the open. Here's how much you guys are going to make. Stay together, and let's try to win a national championship or more. And in football, you need a whole lot more players.
But it's not NIL money. According to the NCAA, cannot be used as a recruiting inducement. Which, of course, it is. Of course, it is. So the other big question that was posed is: could the NCAA come back and retroactively deem a player ineligible? So hypothetically, you say, okay, well, we know this player got this money while he was still in high school. Could the NCAA come back and say you're ineligible for taking that money as a high school athlete, as a recruiting?
I'd be curious to. Well, I don't know the answer to this, but because of what happened recently, like with the LHSAA, in essence, approving on a limited basis NIL.
Yes, they did.
What are 49 other states doing?
They are going to do the same thing.
It's going to be, that'd be a hell of a class action suit.
I know.
Yeah. So.
But you know what this is all leading to, Lee? It's leading to the thing that you and I have talked about for years on this show. that we that we both endorse, which is anarchy.
Right, and anarchy in the end of the NCAA in its current form. Yeah,
it's coming as a result of this. That is coming. When you have Dabo Swinney say we need to blow up the current structure, when you have Nick Saban and some of the most prominent coaches in football essentially saying the same thing, that this model is not sustainable, you know where we're heading. And I'm looking forward to the day because I'm a college football elitist. I do not want ULL mixing with my LSU. I don't need I don't need them on the same plate.
Well, that has to be coming. I mean, there just has to be a division. And like you said, I think you and I talked about this last week, where the conferences will actually dissolve from the football sense. They may stay together with everything else. But there'll be X number of teams, call it 70, 75 teams.
Won't be that
and
many.
It's like, all right, well, what I was just thinking in terms of like Power 5 and what there is now, plus a few others. But
it won't be that many.
Okay, and that's fine. But and it'll all be out there. It'll be okay. It's like joining a really, really expensive country club. This is what it costs to get in, and this is what the dues are.
Cool.
You either can join it or you don't join it.
Cool.
And you'll get your elitist football. And as a person who likes watching high-level college football, but only high-level college football, it wouldn't bother not to watch anything else. Why not?
It's
I
almost
guess
like
that's just the way it's going to be.
There's some fans that are scared of what that might look like, but you've got to be willing to expand your mind to realize, like, you had the same fear when the BCS came along or the college football playoff came along, and everything we have is better than what it was 50 years ago when you had a bunch of goony sports writers determining a champion based on nothing other than their vote, and a lot of times they hadn't even seen a play. Like, no college football fan wants to watch Alabama against South Alabama. Nobody. There's not a soul that wants to see that. Nobody.
And there are even worse teams than that we see play.
I know. I mean, you
could get into a whole different other argument about it, Matt. But there probably should be like 5 levels, and instead of just 2 like there are now, and some of them should have to have an extremely limited scholarship situation. The coaches wouldn't like that. You can get into a whole different argument about why some schools even have football. Like what? There's no way in the world it's not a complete money drain on the school. It can't do anything for the community, and they can tell you till the cows come home that that's not true, but it just is. And I don't want to single out specific state schools in a place like Louisiana, but there are times I just go like, why do they have football?
Like who?
And I could also ask, well, why do they have women's golf? Why do they have men's tennis?
Well, the answer to that is Title IX. But I mean, you know that as well as I do.
You're right, but they don't. It doesn't enhance the student experience because they bring in kids usually who aren't even from in-state. They have no fans, and student fees pay for those things.
So change federal law.
Well, I mean, what we need to do is take football out of. There needs to be a part of that that says football's out of Title IX. Here, have at it. And then you'd have a lot more equity. You'd have a lot more chance for better sports.
No, what you would have is you would actually have the opposite of that, because football is the reason with 85 scholarships that you have as many, that schools fund as many women's sports as they do. If you took football out of the equation, then you wouldn't have to fund women's sports the way that you currently do. I mean, that's what would happen, Lee. That's 85 women's scholarships you wouldn't have to fund.
Sadly, you may be right.
I'm 100% right. I'm not saying I'm for or against one way or another, but if you have the choice of taking that revenue and putting it back into football, putting it back into your moneymakers, you're going to. You're not going to fund exactly what you just said, women's golf or whatever it is. And look, LSU's women's golf just won the SEC. Congrats to them. It's great. I'm not saying Title IX is a bad thing, but what it has done is that it has taken away opportunities for non-revenue sports for men. Because football's in the equation. But the flip side of it is what you just said. If you take football out of the Title IX equation, you're going to eliminate many sports altogether.
Well, first thing, make it perfectly clear that Title IX is not a bad thing. Title IX is a very good and important thing and goes well beyond athletics. But just so that we can get another ding, that is the reason why the second fastest growing sport in America, boys volleyball, can't become a college sport for most places. Thank you. You're welcome.
And you can read more about that at volleyballmag.com.
No.
All right. After giving that reference, I need a beer.
What is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. I could really use a beer. Beer.
All right, take it away.
All right, now I don't know if beers can be an NIL. You know, like could you be sponsored by a beer?
I don't think you can. I think alcohol, tobacco, gambling certainly if you're not of age. I mean, if you're a minor, you can't endorse
what if it was no alcohol beer? You know, like those 0.0.
Well, because even still they have some. But what is interesting is think about it where, like, if you're a professional athlete, but you're not 21 yet, like if you're Zion, for example. I mean, what if there was a alcohol sponsor for the Pelicans or any? Yeah, so I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, let me just say then, if I were a college athlete and I were allowed to have a beer sponsor, just for the look alone, I would probably want Abita's Beeracuda. Now, is that the greatest picture, Matt? For the people not driving and not seeing this.
Beeracuda.
Beeracuda. And I looked it up to see, too, if there was apparel, and there's not. But I'm going to make a request because we need that T-shirt, Matt.
A Beeracuda T-shirt.
Yeah, it's just a lager. It's 5% alcohol. It's nice. Like they say, despite its ferocious behavior and appearance, this Beeracuda is perfect to sip on when relaxing in or out of the water. This crisp Gulf Coast cerveza will cool you off even on the hottest of days, which we'll have eventually. So get ready to set the hook with this refreshing brew. It's Beeracuda by Abita. Just a nice lager. Tastes good. It's one of those where you walk down the beer aisle and see that and go, just because of the picture. Great marketing. High fives to them. So there's my beer.
A good beach beer. Beeracuda from Abita.
Hopefully a good beer to have another one sitting outside in just a few minutes. Well, I know not hopefully. I know it's good.
Enjoy it. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, Matt.
See ya. That's Lee Feinswog. This is After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break. Stick around. It's AFR. AFR is brought to you by Rouse's. Rouse's, this feels like home. Rouse's, the official supermarket of LSU Athletics. Y'all, get on by Rouse's. I want to remind you of something, which is very important. At Rouse's, they do offer curbside pickup. So you can go to the Rouse's app. You download the Rouse's app. All of the items they have available in store, all right there on the Rouse's app. Do your shopping on the app. They'll go pick out the items for you. When you pull up, they'll bring it out to you. Rouse is available for curbside pickup, and delivery options are available as well if you can't get to the store. It's all about saving you time. It's about making it more convenient for you. That's Rouse's, the official supermarket of LSU Athletics. Find the location nearest you at rouses.com. Rouses.com. Having a crawfish boil, live and boiled crawfish. They got them both at Rouse's, every single Rouse's location. Stop on by Rouse's, where this feels like home.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Sevyn office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Sevyn have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I want to get into a Kuiper-McShay dueling mock here. Just a quick second. Game 2, Pels Suns, of course, is tonight. If you missed it, Jake Madison was here in hour 1. So you can go back and check that out as we previewed the game. Willie Green, shoot-around, did give his thoughts on the Game 1 film after the Pels did drop it by 11 on the road.
I thought overall, just first half, we didn't get off to a great start. We have to be better at understanding that in the playoffs, the intensity is higher, the game is going to be played harder, and we didn't figure that out until the second half, so we can be better. With that being said, 6-point game in the third, fourth quarter, and we were shooting 33% from the field, so there's some things to be encouraged about.
Definitely have to shoot better. Big part of that, obviously, is Phoenix and how good they are as a defensive basketball team. One thing the Pels did well was their ability to rebound. You expect that with their size, and it went their way, but they weren't able to convert on those. But Willie Green did talk about the success that they had on the offensive glass in Game 1.
I thought it was fantastic. That's not something that we don't do. We crash the offensive glass, and so we just did it better, especially with missing a ton of shots. There were a ton of rebounds to get. Now we want to make some more shots, so it probably won't be as many offensive rebounds, but anytime we can get in there, we want to.
All right, it is Pels and Suns tonight, 9 o'clock Central Time. You can watch it on TNT, and, of course, the local broadcast as well on Bally Sports, and you can listen to it on 100.3 ESPN New Orleans. By the way, if you want to wager on the game, Suns are a 9.5-point favorite, but you can get to the DraftKings app. DraftKings, the official sportsbook of the NBA. And during the NBA playoffs, remember, the DraftKings app has a great deal for new customers. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Bet just $5 on any NBA playoff game, and they'll give you $150 in free bets. Think about that. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You got to use the promo code Baton Rouge. That will unlock the promotion. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Got to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Bet just $5 on an NBA playoff game. No matter the outcome, they'll give you $150 in free bets. That's going on right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-STOP. All right, it's after further review. Mel Kiper and Todd McShay did a dueling mock draft today. So, for example, McShay made the first pick, Kiper made the second pick, then McShay the third, and back and forth you get it. They did that throughout the full first 3 rounds of the draft. And you know my feeling on mock drafts if you listen to the show. I'm not married to any one person's mock draft or a certain player going to a certain team. I mean, there are some things that are already given in certain years, like everybody knew Joe Burrow was going number 1 to Cincinnati. When you see Derek Stingley routinely mocked 12 to Minnesota, that makes a lot of sense. But by and large, what it tells you is Derek Stingley's not going to be a top 5 pick, like many thought whenever this last season started. He's going to be probably go a little bit later than that, wherever maybe we'll see. For me, what I kind of look for is a consensus on positions or players taken by a certain team. So for the Saints picking 16 and 19, what positions or what players do you consistently see pop up? And it kind of tells you where this team is likely focused. This dueling mock draft, Kiper made the 16th pick, but McShay made the 19th pick. Kiper at 16 had the Saints taking Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I'm not going to BS you and tell you like I've watched all this Northern Iowa film. I haven't. What I have seen is clips of that dude at the Senior Bowl. The thing I love is he's freaking nasty. Like he's shoving dudes. He's talking bleep. Like he's going helmet to helmet with dudes from bigger schools. Like, and that's kind of the MO for him, is that he's this really mean, physical, nasty player. I love that. Okay. If you take Penning at 16, you solve left tackle. McShay at 19 has the Saints taking Chris Olave. I love that. It solves your wide receiver 2 spot with Michael Thomas being your short intermediate guy. Olave ran a sub 4.40. He could blow the top off. You get another Ohio State receiver. The Saints have certainly done well with guys from Ohio State. So I would love that. If you go tackle, receiver, 16, 19, and answer your 2 biggest questions right there, I love it. I'm all on board with that in whatever order it may be. Some mock drafts have the Saints going with Jamison Williams from Alabama. I think that would be a great pick if they made it. I'm not worried at all about the torn ACL. Guys come back from torn ACLs now. It's just a more common thing that you see. So I don't even worry about it. But if they go offensive tackle, wide receiver, in whatever order there, and maybe it's like some mock drafts, you see Charles Cross from Mississippi State. Fine. Like whoever the Saints have scouted and feel like that's the guy they want in that spot, cool. You address those 2 spots, I'm good. The other spot that they really need to address is safety. We've talked about it a bunch, but you lost your 2 starting safeties, and you've only signed Marcus May. I know P.J. Williams is back. I know you've gotten some maybe not starting caliber players, but we'll see how it goes. I think they got to address safety as well early in the draft. But McShay has the Saints at 49 taking Sam Howell, the quarterback out of North Carolina. That has me kind of excited, because at one point, Sam Howell was projected as the number 1 pick in this draft. If you go before this past season, it was Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler as the top 2 picks in the draft. Neither had a good season. I mean, Spencer Rattler got benched and is now a quarterback at South Carolina. Sam Howell just didn't have all of his stats regressed this year. So could he be a guy that there's great value in round 2, a guy that maybe had the skill set at one point to be thought of as a number 1 overall pick? Or is he more Matt Barkley? A guy who would have been a number 1 overall pick, goes back to USC, doesn't have a great year, ends up a 5th-round pick, and he's out the league. Maybe. Don't know. But they do have the Saints at 98 with the 3rd-round pick addressing safety. And it's Kiper who made the pick, and it's a safety out of Baylor. So a guy who learned under Dave Aranda, so you certainly have a guy that knows how to play the position and knows how to play defense. But it's J.T. Woods, the safety out of Baylor. So with their first 4 picks, Kuiper and McShay in their mock have the Saints taking a tackle, a wide receiver, a quarterback, and a safety. However it looks with those first 4 picks, if the Saints address tackle, receiver, safety, quarterback, I'm good. The only exception that I would tell you is if it ends up being a quarterback at 16 or 19. I would not want a quarterback in round 1 because I think Jameis is going to be the guy, and I'm not bullish on any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft. So otherwise, you want to take Sam Howell in round 2? You want to take Carson Strong in round 3? I could get down with that. Not quite as excited about a project considering you spent a 4th-round pick on Ian Book last year, but if you're convinced one of these guys could sit and grow over a year or two and become a Russell Wilson, a 3rd-round pick that becomes a starter, I could get down with that. But most importantly, as long as you address tackle, safety, receiver early in this draft with starting caliber players, I'm good. As for the LSU guys in this mock draft, they got, as we mentioned, Stingley going 12 overall, Cordell Flott going 85 to New England, and Neil Farrell Jr. going 103 to the Kansas City Chiefs. So only 3 picks in the first 3 rounds, a 1 and then 2 third-round picks. Bummed for Damone Clark, but for the injury, he was a fringe first-round pick. Surprised at Ed Ingram. It looks like he'll drop into day 3 if this holds. I'm really curious how many LSU players do get drafted. Stingley, Flott, Neil Farrell, I think Ty Davis-Price, Cade York probably gets drafted as well. And I think there's guys that, but for injuries, likely would have been drafted. Damone Clark, I think, is a question mark. I mean, I do still think he gets drafted, but we see this often where guys have injuries and there's a big question mark, so they go undrafted. That may happen to Damone Clark. I'd say the same for a guy like Glenn Logan, who's a really good player but battled injuries his whole career at LSU. Andre Anthony, same thing. He's coming off a couple of knee injuries. So guys that are draftable prospects, but due to injury might take them off some teams' boards. We'll see if they hear their name called. But, I mean, you could be talking about just 4 or 5 players total drafted from LSU this year, or maybe as many as 8 to 10, depending on the injury situation, how it all plays out. So draft is a week from Thursday. We will be at Don Juan Cigar Bar, our 104.5 ESPN draft coverage presented by Rouse's, live from Don Juan Cigar Bar, and you can watch along with us at the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So if you're watching on YouTube right now and you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, set notifications, so when we go live for any of our shows, you get notified that we're there. All right, it's After Further Review brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, 288-8138, 288-8138, or reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, make your home more energy efficient. Y'all, the 100-degree temps are coming. Your AC is going to be working overtime. Make your home more energy efficient to lower your monthly energy bills, increase your home's resale value. Energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows that come with a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. That's Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Bobby Carpenter in about 13 minutes. Muso will have Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Muso as Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
USFL action last night. The Tampa Bay Bandits, they defeated the Pittsburgh Maulers 17-3. Former Tiger Derek Dillon suits up for the Bandits. Targeted twice, caught one of them for 11 yards and a first down last night. Spread the ball around. About 6 or 7 different receivers caught a pass for the Bandits. Major League Baseball action from last night. The Astros 8-3 winners over the Angels. Really nice night for Alex Bregman. 2 for 4 at the plate with a double. Also came around to score 2 runs, contributing to that 8-3 victory for Houston. For the Philadelphia Phillies last night, Aaron Nola got tagged with the loss, but it was a pretty decent effort. 5 1/3 innings.
Okay.
6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, struck out 4 through 84 pitches, 59 strikes. However, the Phillies, they scored, but just 1 run. So, we're back
Typical.
to that.
Yes.
Yeah, we're back to
typical.
that.
Yes.
Really solid outing for Nola, but sits at 1-2 on the season. The Cincinnati Reds, they were facing the San Diego Padres. Little LSU on LSU action here. Jake Fraley for the Reds wore the collar, 0 for 3. Did draw a walk, so reached base at least once last night. Did not come around to score. Austin Nola at the top of the Padres order, DHing last night, 2 for 4 with a run scored for Nola. They were both singles. 265 so far on the young season for Austin Nola, the older of the Nola brothers. And then tonight in the NBA, You have the Timberwolves in Game 2 versus the Grizzlies. Naz Reid should be in action. The first game of the night, though, at 6:30, features the Atlanta Hawks and Skylar Mays versus the top seed in the East, Miami Heat. That is Tigers and the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the red box. It is Mother's Day coming up. She may not be your mom, but she is the mother of your children. So, gentlemen, thrill her, honor her this Mother's Day with a gift from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Of course, you step it up with that little red box. Show the lady in your life that you love them, that you appreciate them this Mother's Day. Gentlemen, don't screw it up. Mother's love lasts forever, and show her that yours does too with a special Mother's Day gift from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com, or get by the Lee Michaels location nearest you. LMFJ.com. All right, Bobby Carpenter joins us next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. Get on by the Williamson Eye Center or log on to book that free, no-obligation consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson over at the Williamson Eye Center. If you have not had your eyes checked out by an ophthalmologist to see if you're a candidate for a refractive procedure, this is your chance. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. Of course, they've been so ingrained in our community for so long. They are the title sponsor of the Gonzalez 100-year centennial celebration this weekend. The Williamson Eye Center. Give them a buzz. They've been around almost that long. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. No matter your age or your refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center has a solution for you, like Dr. Blake Williamson did for me. LASIK was the perfect solution for me. Find yours at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Nets point guard Ben Simmons, continuing to make his way back from a back injury, has been cleared for contact. Coach Steve Kerr ruled him out for Game 2 tomorrow against the Celtics, but did leave the door open for Simmons' season debut at some point in that first-round NBA playoff series. With his Nuggets down 2-0 to the Warriors, Coach Michael Malone's urging his team to stick together and not splinter in adverse times. Last night's loss included frustrating Denver players bickering on the sideline. The Nuggets have a tough road ahead as they get ready to host Game 3 Thursday, explains ESPN's J.J. Redick.
Nuggets need more of a sense of urgency, especially defensively. There needs to be a trust and ball movement on the offensive side. They've got a real uphill battle to climb, but that trust and that ability to lock in for a game, attention to detail of the game plan, lock in, the intellect required, as I mentioned, to beat the Warriors. It takes a lot.
J.J. Redick, three-time World Series champion Dave Stewart, leading a group seeking to obtain an MLB franchise in Nashville that would be the first minority-owned team in league history.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. So, LSU and Brian Kelly picked up another transfer today at a position, boy, where they needed help. Sevyn Banks, cornerback from Ohio State, will play his 5th and final season of college football here at LSU. Bobby Carpenter, former Buckeye, now co-host of the Morning Juice on 97.1 The Fan there in Columbia. It's also Sirius XM, contributed Outkick. Dude does a ton. He's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes now. Bobby, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
Man, doing really well. I appreciate it. Let's just start with a big, broad one. What's LSU getting in cornerback Sevyn Banks?
You know, he's was a highly recruited guy. He came in. He played pretty well early in his career. Struggled a little bit. The last season, last couple. Part of the year prior, but a lot of that was due to injuries. And he had a hip injury. I know. Coming out of the season, he was thinking about potentially leaving and going, entering the draft. I think he wanted to get another year of better film. But he's a big guy, like a physical guy. He can probably play. He can play outside. Maybe he can play inside in the slot. Like I said, he's very muscular. You can move him around. But he's a guy that's very physically gifted and can run well when he's healthy.
Bob, we've become accustomed to seeing a lot of these Ohio State cornerbacks go into the draft and go. I mean, Jeff Okudah, Damon Arnett. I mean, you know the list. How does he compare? Does he compare to some of those guys who are like really big time NFL prospects?
I think he shares some of the same measurables as them, and that was one of the things Ohio State. They rarely recruit corners under 6 feet tall, so they have guys that are 6 foot, 6'1", that are physical, that can run, and so kind of checks some of those boxes. His issue, though, is he's just been battling an injury. And so last year he wasn't able to practice a lot, in the spring. And then got hemmed up. He couldn't really practice a lot during the season. And when you're out there, and you can't really get the reps, especially coming out of like a COVID-shortened year and not having spring ball the year before, kind of hampered his development a little bit. And I don't feel like he was ever really healthy. But the guy has the measurables. I don't know if I'm ready to put him on the level of Marshawn Lattimore, Denzel Ward, or guys like that who made Pro Bowls and have been great players. But he has all the same measurables, and was recruited by Kerry Combs there. A guy who looks at all these guys the same and has done a great job of developing them.
Yeah, shame on me for not mentioning the guy who signed the biggest cornerback contract ever, and then Marshawn Lattimore, who's obviously plays for the Saints. But obviously, Ohio State's turned out a lot of good defensive backs, which, Bobby, it's probably one of the reasons LSU fans are excited about this, because it's definitely a position of need, and it comes from a program that obviously has produced a lot of good talent at that position. Let me go back a little bit and talk about sort of the progress through his career. If you could walk us through Sevyn Banks and his process to get on the field, because obviously there was a logjam there when he first showed up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like you mentioned, all the great players that Ohio State's had. I mean, they had Jeffrey Okudah and Damon Arnett there at the beginning, and both of those guys ultimately got drafted in the first round. And like I mentioned, shared a lot of those similar traits and measurables that a lot of the other corners that we've talked about have. So they've done a good job. And so he had a hard time initially getting in, but one of the things they like to do is roll their young guys in, give them 20%, 30% of the snaps, keeps your starters fresh, keeps them healthy, and then also gets those young guys a lot of some much needed experience against really talented players and some in some big games. So they throw him out there at any point in time, and started out very promising in his career because he's a very skilled athlete and possesses a lot of talent. But I think a lot of it was due the last few seasons. He just wasn't healthy, and I didn't fully realize it. I'm over at practice a lot. I talked to Sevyn on the sideline, and I don't think he fully realized or let on how bad it was. And so he was playing through some things, and so when you see he looks kind of stiff, or he didn't maybe move quite as well, and then come to find out he had some pretty serious stuff that it was all recoverable, but it's just a timeline and something you can't get fixed during the season. So he was able to get on the field early. His career in small doses, play a little bit more in his second year. Then, third and fourth year, it just was a little bit hazy and muddy just due to some of the injuries that he's had.
So you mentioned a hip injury. What else has he dealt with?
He's had some knee stuff. And I say that, like, just minor things. I wouldn't define the guy as, injury prone. It's not like he had always something lagging, but, or nagging. But he had, he's had a hamstring. I think he maybe had a knee. But the hip deal was something that this year, I didn't realize that he had to deal with. It was something that was, fairly significant and took him a while to get healed up from.
Anything? So you said you don't think it's anything that would be like maybe career hindering or anything, but is it something that with the injuries you look at and say, well, that could maybe limit him next year or in the future? Maybe the injuries are why he's not in the NFL draft right now.
Yeah, I think the injuries are probably why he didn't go into the draft at this point, just because of the timeline. Would you be able to go, run on pro day? Would you be able to perform in the combine? Would you be able to take visits and have those individual workouts? I don't know if he would have been healthy enough, potentially for that. And I think that's probably why, like to get in the portal, see what else is out there. You've got a great program like LSU that puts a ton of dudes in the league. You got a new coach in Brian Kelly. It's a position of need for them. And so, hey, this is going to give you a little bit longer to rehab, get healthy. We'll work you in and make sure that you're ready to go and not get you out there before you're healthy, which I think it was just really, you start talking about hips and shoulders, a lot of times those injuries, especially hips, you're talking, 4, 5, 6 months before you're really feeling good. And so I think a lot of it, why this happened now is, maybe he was finally fully healthy and felt confident enough to be able to go.
Bobby Carpenter for a couple of more minutes. Sevyn Banks type of guy that could play outside, or is he more of a nickel slot type guy?
So he'd always been an outside guy at Ohio State, but the one thing that he has, he has a big frame, and like you look at him, and he at times almost looks like a safety, and he's gonna have to make sure that Brian Kelly's touting that 24-hour gumbo that they've got over there at the facility, but he may be a guy that we got to push away and maybe keep out of the bowl because he's got a propensity. I'm like, dude, you get big, you just get muscular. I'm like, so you want to move inside and play slot, maybe play safety, you can do that. He's got the size and the frame to be able to, but I'm sure once he gets going and gets rolling and running again, he'll be fine. But he's always kind of been an outside guy while he was with the Buckeyes.
And before you go, By the way, Bobby Carpenter's on Twitter at bcarp3. You'll give him a follow. We've talked so much about the Brian Kelly stuff here. I'm just curious your perspective, man. The guy played in the Midwest from that area, obviously familiar with Notre Dame, his career there. What's your thoughts on Brian Kelly at LSU?
So I've got a kind of probably a unique perspective. My brother played for him at Cincinnati for a year. He GA'd for him at Notre Dame for 2 years. So, I mean, I've been around BK for a while. My brother knows him really, really well. I mean, he's a demanding coach. He's a tough dude to work for. But you look at what he did at Notre Dame. You look at what he's done everywhere he's been. I mean, he's a successful football coach for a reason. He's done a lot of things and performed it really at a high level. And you start looking at why he left Notre Dame, and I understand it. I got recruited to Notre Dame, and they've got some issues there. I think he ultimately wants to win a national championship, and there's it's a tougher path. You have more tools to be able to do that potentially at LSU, and I think that they were going to give you at Notre Dame. And so, he went down there and laugh about the accent and some of the different stuff and the dancing, but the guy's a heck of a football coach. He's a good offensive mind. He does a great job running a program. They said he'll be demanding. He can be a little contentious at times, but you can't really argue with the results. And you look at any great coach, and I would argue to try to find a guy who isn't a little contentious at times and maybe doesn't press on their assistants maybe a little harder than they should at times. But that's ultimately when you're pushing and you're that competitive. That's what's going to make you great. And frankly, he's 60 years old, and I think he realizes he's coached more football than he's going to coach. And there's probably a 5 to 7 year window to say, hey, can I come down to LSU? And they've won 3 championships in the last 20 years with 3 different coaches. And, for my money, I'm going to tell you that Brian Kelly, I think, is better than 2 of them, hands down. So,
I don't think you're going to get an argument here, man. I don't think anybody here is arguing at that point.
Well, except people ask, like, can he win down there? I'm going to tell you this. I love Coach O. I love him, entertaining guy. Like, I think Les Miles is a great dude, but Brian Kelly's a better football coach than both of those dudes, and they both managed to win a national title. So I'm not saying he's going to win one, but he's going to give you a heck of a good shot.
Would you have that, I'm going to clip that. Maybe we just send that to every Notre Dame fan who just lives in my mentions who doesn't quite understand that right now.
Hey, guys, you're not alone, believe me. I've told people this a ton. I'm like, Notre Dame, they are very antiquated with how they operate, and they don't want to have food available to players 24 hours a day. They want their guys to live in dorms with normal students for 4 years because that's what all the other students do. And the reality is in college athletics, it's tough to find. You can find guys that will do that, but it's really tough to find a lot of them. And I challenge you this, guys. This is why Notre Dame, they've had trouble outside of Kaiser. He's been kind of their one quarterback that was drafted fairly high. But we're talking about Sevyn Banks. You talk about all the DBs Ohio State's had. Notre Dame, I looked this up, in the last 10 years, I don't think they've had a cornerback drafted, maybe one guy in the 3rd round. So people talk about why they struggle. I'm like, you struggle against Alabama, it's not because you can't stop the run up front. It's because you can't stop the run and play man on the outside. So you either have to choose what you're going to do and how you're going to get beat if you don't have anybody that can ever lock anyone up. And I think that's been one of the biggest issues in their ability to recruit up there at Notre Dame. And I think Brian Kelly was just like, all right, if you guys aren't going to help me, then I'm going to go somewhere that will.
And the truth shall set you free. It's just so it's so validating to hear from someone that's not sitting in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You and I will have a conversation another day about Notre Dame maybe, but Bobby Carpenter, good stuff, man. Appreciate you as always for taking a couple of minutes, man. Thanks for jumping aboard today.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh, man. That is Bobby Carpenter, again on Twitter at bcarp3. 97.1 The Fan. He does the morning juice up there on 97.1 The Fan, which is a really good radio station in Columbus. And he's also on Sirius XM and contributes to Outkick. Does a lot of stuff. I mean, you can tell he's really good. But it's so validating to hear someone who has that type of connectivities in the Midwest who's saying the same thing. Yes, Notre Dame is antiquated. It's fine if what you want to do is be rigorous academically and have your students live in dorms and not have football-only facility. That's fine. Respect. It's a great place academically for a lot of people. But if you want to win national championships and recruit a roster 1 to 85 that can compete with Alabama and LSU and Georgia and Clemson, you can't do the things you've been doing for the last 40 years that have led you to not winning anything. Stop Stop blaming it on Brian Kelly. It's displacement. I mean, there's been some bad coaches in the mix in there, but you've had good coaches as well that haven't been able to win it for this very reason. All right. It's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Should the Saints trade for Kyler Murray? Before you just shoo it and poo-poo it, I want to talk about it next.
AFR.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net. Better coverage for less money. I want to remind you, if you have your insurance with Liberty Mutual and you have not shopped in the last 2 years, if you've had Liberty Mutual for 2 years and you've not shopped, chances are you're overpaying. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. And you may say, man, but I got great coverage. Probably true. But the story I hear time and time again, people with Insurance Network, people with Liberty Mutual, they call Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're able to find same coverage or better and save money almost every single time. Because at Liberty Mutual, they'll get you in cheap, and then they'll jack up the rates on you. You keep auto drafting, and hopefully you just don't ever change that. Today, that ends. Call 293-0450, 293-0450, 293-0450 for Insurance Network of Louisiana.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Sevyn office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Sevyn have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Join us Thursday, April 28th at 7 p.m. for the Rouse's ESPN Baton Rouge Draft Party live from Don Juan Cigar Bar. And exclusively...
No. You got to say it right.
That's your thing.
No.
I can't do that. That's your bit.
You got to say it right.
I can't do that.
You got to say it right.
Exclusively on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
From?
Hold on. Again, that's your thing, though. Our team will break down all the picks, trades, and moves inside one of the biggest nights in sports. Come out to the Rouse's ESPN Baton Rouge Draft Party Thursday, April the 28th at 7 p.m. live from Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Man, that was terrible.
I don't like. It's not my thing.
Why would you even try it?
It's not my thing.
Why would you even try it? That was so bad. I can't believe you tried
it. On the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
Paul, that was pretty bad, wasn't it? I mean, can you believe he even tried it? I mean, golly.
That was bad.
That was so bad.
Told you I didn't want to do it. It's your thing.
Nobody twisted your arm.
You did.
No, I'm sitting way over here.
Yeah.
Don Juan Cigar Bar. Can I tell you how excited I am about that?
Sure.
First of all, I just love going to Don Juan. And the draft night party is one of my favorite nights of the year for stuff that we do as a staff. Like, we've moved it around a bunch over the years. Of course, that's the night that bore Island Hanning. I mean, we've had there was one year where T-Bob and Rohan were in here dressed up like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars something characters. They were both wearing like hooded costumes. Yeah, I know.
I missed that one.
It's out there. Matt Flynn brought the very bad Costco brand whiskey one year. I mean, we've had some really like memorable. Every year something memorable happens at this thing. We gave away a man cave. Tommy Moffitt emceed with us one time at Pluckers, and every time someone was eliminated, he'd say, "You got plucked." It was all. I mean, there's been some really good. I'm looking forward to this year. We'll have Jeremy Hill with us for the first time, of course, having the experience of having been drafted. So, and it's at Don Juan Cigar Bar. So come on out, have a cigar. They have food at Don Juan as well, by the way. So you can order food, have a cigar, have some booze, whatever you want, hang out with us. It's very informal. So we'll be talking, we'll be hanging out. I mean, just come hang out with us. It'll be a good time. That's Thursday for the draft. First round of the draft, a week from Thursday. Okay. I'm going to ask you this question, but I need you not to just roll your eyes or belly laugh or have any like super dismissive type of reaction. Should the Saints trade for Kyler Murray? Okay, hold on. I'm going to tell you why. This isn't just silly radio guy plucked from the air, whatever. I mean, okay, maybe it's a little bit of that, but it's not. CBS Sports explored this because Kyler Murray wants a new contract in Arizona. They don't seem super eager while having this guy on a rookie deal for at least 5 years to be very proactive in giving him a massive deal before they need to. He's 2 years into his career. So, like, you've got time if you're Arizona, or 3 years. You have time if you're Arizona if you want to wait to see a larger sample size. So Kyler Murray's seen a bunch of dudes get broke off. He's seen Josh Allen get his bag. He saw Patrick Mahomes get his bag. And he's like, hey, man, where's mine? So if they can't reach a deal, Arizona theoretically could trade Kyler Murray. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't think this is going to happen. Number one, I don't think Arizona is going to trade him. But as I often say in free agency, every front office should consider everything, because if you're not, you are being negligent. You have to do your due diligence on any prospect, on any player, on any type of player that could make your team better at any position. Some are going to be far-fetched, but you have to go through that process. When we were talking about Russell Wilson, not many people were talking about Denver initially. The Denver conversation was with Aaron Rodgers. But look at ultimately what happened. Russ goes to Denver. I mean, you have to be willing to explore something in order to make that deal happen, however it'll work. So, just on the premise of need, we've seen the Saints explore everything. They sure were in the mix for Deshaun Watson. That we surely know that they had conversations about Russell Wilson dating back to last year when Russell Wilson said he would waive his no-trade clause for New Orleans. We obviously know that they signed Jameis Winston. The Saints have brought draft prospects into New Orleans. There was a report today that Matt Corral was visiting the Saints today. I believe Nick Underhill had that earlier today. So the Saints are exploring all possibilities. And if there is a starting quarterback in the NFL who's had success that could be available for trade, you at least have to look at it and explore it. So, and again, to be clear, I don't think it would happen, and I don't want it to happen. But you'd have to start, okay, what would it cost? And I think you just immediately have to look at a comp, which would be the Russell Wilson deal, which just got done. The comp is no longer even the Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff deal because you've gotten another major quarterback move since then. The Russell Wilson trade was 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5, and 3 players. Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and defensive end Shelby Harris. So 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5, and 3 players. If you're the Saints, you're basically looking at if you were going to do a deal for Kyler Murray, it would cost you your 2 1s this year, no doubt. So you wouldn't make a first-round pick again until 2024. It would cost you 2 2s. You only have this year's. You don't have next year's 2 because you already moved that pick. So you'd have to go into like the 2024 draft for your other second-round pick. Potentially, I guess, a 5 as well. And you have a 5th-round pick this year, so it could be that. And then 3 players. One of them would have to be Jameis Winston. You'd have to move Jameis Winston. And then what other players would be involved? I mean, Noah Fant is a starter at tight end, and then Shelby Harris is a defensive end. So what one offensive, one defensive starter, pick whom it might be, not a Pro Bowl caliber player, but a starting caliber player. And remember, if you do that, if you're willing to give up 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5, and 3 players, including Jameis Winston, to bring in Kyler Murray, what you're saying is, we think if we add that guy today, we're a Super Bowl contender. That's what Denver said. By trading 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, Denver said, we add Russell Wilson of this team, we're a Super Bowl contender today. It's what the Rams said last year. When the Rams said all those picks and Jared Goff to Detroit, they said, with Matthew Stafford, we're a Super Bowl contender. And lo and behold, they won the Super Bowl. They were right. They gambled and they won. Denver did that with Peyton Manning, and they won. And now they're doing it again with Russell Wilson. But I think there's a much bigger difference between Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson, even Matthew Stafford, who had such a long, successful career in Detroit, despite not having the team success because Detroit, and Kyler Murray. At this point in his career, I don't know that I could look at Kyler Murray and say, yeah, he's that guy. Like, I waffle right now or vacillate with Kyler Murray to say, okay, is he Patrick Mahomes or is he Kirk Cousins? Y'all, Kirk Cousins in his career as a starter is 59, 59, and 2. I mean, he is, that line is splitting his crotch, brother. 59, 59, and 2. He's thrown for a lot of yards. He's won a lot of games. He's also never won anything of significance, and he's lost a lot of games. Kyler Murray, 22, 23, and 1. He is right on pace. So, is he the guy that you think with a better roster breaks through and becomes Matthew Stafford and wins a Super Bowl? Or is he a guy that is Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, is going to get you into the playoffs every now and again, might win a game, but ultimately bow out and not going to win the big one? And I think the other thing to consider is that if you did a deal for Kyler Murray, you also have to pay him the market value. And you are going to pay, you're giving up that much, you have to pay him market value for a quarterback. You're going to pay Kyler Murray north of $30 million a year? I'm not interested in that. Not right now. And the other part of the equation is this. What are you more convinced of? Kyler Murray being Patrick Mahomes? Or Jameis Winston being Drew Brees 2.0? Which has a better chance of happening? And I'm not so sure it's not Jameis. Healthy Jameis at 27 years old with all of the weapons around him. Healthy Michael Thomas. Draft him a wide receiver. Taysom Hill in the Taysom Hill role, not as your backup quarterback. I'm not so sure I wouldn't lean that direction and seeing what Jameis Winston over the next decade could be instead of what might Kyler Murray be at $300 million. Again, CBS Sports put it out there. They ranked the top, and I guess I buried this. I probably should have talked about this. CBS Sports ranked or listed 10 destinations for Kyler Murray if the Cardinals trade him. Number 1 was Panthers. Number 2 was Eagles. 3 was the Saints. Then Texans, Lions, Titans, Steelers, Giants, Falcons. Basically every team that maybe isn't totally settled at quarterback, but they had Saints third on the list. Again, you at least have to do your due diligence if you're in the front office. You got to explore every possibility, especially if you're talking about a starting quarterback. But with the uncertainty about what Kyler Murray will be in his career, what it would cost to do it, can't see a deal getting done. I think ultimately he stays in Arizona, by the way. But for me, not New Orleans. All right, it's after further review. Pontiff Classic is an hour away from first pitch. Let's talk about it next on AFR.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty.
I love sharing great testimonials from my friend Darren James, and there are so many client testimonials that you see all the time with Darren because Darren does more volume than anyone else, and he delivers exceptional customer service, which I tell you about all the time. It's Darren James's Raving Fan Clubs. This is Jackie and Mike Burnett. Jackie and Mike Burnett said Darren is the best realtor I have ever worked with. He was great representing us. When the builder wanted to delay closing, he was able to get the builder to close by the end of the month. He is always looking out for his clients. Another raving fan, Jackie and Mike Burnett. They bought and sold a home in 2022 with Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt, and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care. It's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I will say Friday is easily the most disappointing game of the season for me. I don't think we reacted well to the failure of Thursday night and not finishing that game off. And I actually took a different approach after that game on Thursday night. I was very positive with the team, and it was try to get them reset for the next day, but it did not work, obviously. And so we'll learn from that and learn about, communicating with them and getting them ready to go. And when you're facing a good opponent with a good pitcher, if you're not ready, you're going to get exposed. And he exposed us a little bit there.
Hagen Smith certainly did. 7 innings of no run, 2-hit baseball on Friday in Game 2. LSU was swept this weekend against Arkansas. You know that. They're back at it tonight in the Pontiff Classic, 6:30. Of course, you can watch it on SEC Network Plus. You can listen on Eagle 98.1. And Jay Johnson's going to shake it up a little bit here tonight when you look at the lineup, which is now posted. Real quick, by the way, if you're heading out to the box, you're heading that way, get on by and see Terrio, Roddy Beloso. It's Cade's dad, works with us at HUDCO. We got a HUDCO tailgate set up in the bullpen lot, which is right next to the Marucci Performance Center, basically down the right field line. At the back of the parking lot down the right field line, you'll see the orange HUDCO tent. Hot Rod, of course, Hot Rod's Cajun Creole. Hot Rod's Creole. He did a giant pot of jambalaya. It's free. Just get on by. You can see the guys, take a picture with Terrio, or, tell them to kick rocks. Get some jambalaya and go hang out. So it's all courtesy of HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Lineup posted for tonight's ball game, and as we mentioned, Jay Johnson's changing it up. Josh Pearson's going to lead off tonight. So Pearson is going to play in right. The lineup is bookended by the 2 freshmen. So Pearson's going to lead off and play in right. Dylan Cruz will bat second, play in center. Jacob Berry will bat third and play third. Kay Doty will play second and bat fourth. Trey Morgan moves down to the 5 hole. Jordan Thompson will follow, play short and bat 6th. Braden Jobert, and there's the DH, will bat 7th. Tyler McManus is going to catch tonight, bat 8th. And then Josh Stevenson, as we mentioned, will bat 9th and play left field. Ty Floyd will get the start tonight for LSU, a guy who started the season in the weekend rotation and thought it might be primed for a little bit of a breakout year. It just hasn't happened for Ty Floyd, but it would be nice to see him get it going a little bit, because he pitched well at the end of last season. It'd be really nice to see him carve out a role on this on this staff. So they'll go Pearson, Cruz, Berry, Doty, Morgan, Thompson, Jobert, McManus, Stevenson, and notably Jay likes to alternate left, right, so they do that here with Pearson the lefty, Cruz the righty, Berry will bat from the left side, Doty the righty, then Morgan, Thompson, Jobert, McManus, and Stevenson. So they'll alternate left, right throughout the lineup tonight. I like it. I think Pearson, we've talked about a lot, has had some really mature at-bats, especially for a young player. He's a guy who has, when you've needed a guy to work a count, he's been able to work a count. When, against Mississippi State in that first game, when you needed a sac fly after you bunted the runner over, he got the ball in the air to left field. I think he's a very team-oriented hitter when he's in the box. So I like Josh Pearson. I think that's if you want to comp, and I'm not just saying this because he went to Calicut, reminds me a lot of the type of ABs Josh Smith used to have. Maybe Josh Smith has a little more pop. I don't really remember as a freshman. But I guess we're going back a ways. But that was the thing about Smith. Like, he would sit in there and he would chip away and he'd get a 7, 8, 9, 10 pitch at bat, fouling pitches off. He was unafraid of hitting with 2 strikes. He could put the ball in play and had some pop. Pearson may have more pop. I just don't remember Smith as a freshman too well, how it all went. But similar from the left side. I like it a lot. So Pearson will lead off tonight. We'll see how that all goes as LSU is going to play ULL. A ULL team that it's not – they've gotten hot of late. I'm not going to sit here and told you I've watched a ton of ULL baseball this year or anything like that, but they've been better of late in conference play, but on the season they're 20-15 overall. So, man, when you look statistically at this ULL team, the stunning thing is they're just complete lack of offense. They're hitting 252 as a team, 258, excuse me, as a team right now. 258 as a team. I mean, the ULL program, obviously Tony Robichaux did such a magnificent job there for 20 years. And, you know, even if he didn't get the guys that LSU was going to get, he did such a masterful job of recruiting the best players in the state that weren't going to go to LSU or that LSU didn't offer, whatever it may be. Or taking advantage of transfers at times. If it was guys from LSU would transfer over there. To see ULL hitting 258 is just surprising. Staff ERA tonight. Staff ERA is at 4.19. I don't know. Look, Pontiff Classic, it's always emotional. I was told actually that they normally do the Wally Pontiff tribute video in the middle of the 7th. They're not doing that tonight. They're actually going to do it pregame. I think that's an SEC network thing because of the time between innings. Normally when the Pontiff Classic was at Zephyr or Shrine on Airline, it was broadcast on CST. I think Jumbo Sports did it or CST did it. So they kind of could have some liberties with the log, the scheduling log. So because it's on SEC Network Plus, maybe they don't have that luxury or that liberty. So as I was told, they're going to do the Pontiff video in the pregame. So if you're getting there, if you're going to the game, get there early if you want to see the Wally Pontiff tribute video. But mostly I think this is a good opportunity for LSU to get a little feel-good back in your belly. Swing the bats well, pitch it well, get back on the winning track because you got a quick turnaround. You got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series again this week with Missouri coming in. And not only is it a winnable series, but it's a series you have to win. Like, you've lost your 2 home series to A&M and to Auburn. Those are probably series, not probably, those are series before the season we thought LSU was going to win. I don't think many thought they'd go on the road and beat Florida or sweep Mississippi State, but they've been sort of a little bit on its head. You got to develop some consistency because the second half of conference play starts now. And I don't think hosting a regional is out of the realm of possibility for this team. I'm not saying that's an easy ask. It's a heavy lift, but you have 5 series remaining. You can win all of them. And if you do, you'll be 17-13 in the conference, and you're hosting a regional. You're not going to be a national seed, but you can have that regional back at Alex Box Stadium. And if you win that, then you got to go win a weekend. You win a weekend somewhere in a super regional, you're at Omaha. It's baseball. Funny things happen, but it's got to start. Like, they've got to find some consistency. It feels like they've found it in the lineup now with the freshmen at the corner outfielders. And I think Jay is going to just manipulate the lineup every day on a given day based on who the pitcher is. I don't think you're going to go to the yard every day knowing the batting order 1 through 9 and it's never going to change. I think you're just going to continue to see this based on what they're trying to accomplish that day against a certain pitcher, the same way the pitching staff is going to be manipulated as well, where they got to play matchups and use a lot of guys and piece it together. It's just how they're going to have to do it this year. So, but it's a good opportunity with the Pontiff Classic, an emotional night. Should be a great crowd. You know, ULL is going to bring a lot of fans, which is awesome. They'll raise a bunch of money for the Pontiff Foundation, which is fantastic. And it's an opportunity for LSU to go out and win a ball game tonight and start to turn things around with Missouri coming in on Thursday. But it's After Further Review, brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans, gmfsmortgage.com. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but the Fed bumped interest rates, and they're projecting another bump. And the most recent bump was higher than anybody really had predicted. So you've heard me say for years and years and years, like, take advantage of these historically low interest rates. They're not going to last forever. Well, they weren't going to last forever. And you've already seen a bump. And look, the more interest rates go up, not only is that less money that you save on a refi, but also it means when you go to buy a home, if interest rates are higher, you're going to spend more to buy that home with a higher interest rate. So take advantage of it now. You can get pre-qualified at GMFS Mortgage right now. So log on to gmfsmortgage.com. There's a loan officers tab right there at the top of the page. Tap that, find the local loan officer nearest you, and get working toward buying that home of your dreams or saving money each month by refinancing your mortgage. It's still a great time, but take advantage of it now because these historically low rates are not going to last forever. GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. All right, final break on a Tuesday edition of AFR. When we come back, find out what we're betting on tonight. Jimmy joins us for Otterlocks next.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Miller Lite has more taste and only one more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove. I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder Her doctor connected her to an Ochsner Care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Ochsner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment on a Tuesday edition of AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Bocage Barbershop in Bocage Village. Serving the Bocage, Goodwood, and Town Center area since 1959.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you? A little burnside salad weather over here today. Got the doors open. The oyster grill is rolling, and it's a beautiful day to be alive. 2-1 last night. Let's go, baby. Let's
Indeed.
go.
One with the Mavs. The over on the total. What one was that I played?
No, we went under in the first half, and it went over in the first half. Went under for the game, but it went over in the first half.
Got it. I didn't play that. I don't know what I played. That was. I'm looking at my past wagers on the DraftKings app. That was a past one about the Yankees and Blue Jays. So anyway, all right. So let's get into what we got tonight. Otter, are we thinking first half under again in the Pels Suns?
No.
Only
Off
first
of
game.
that. Yeah. You know what's funny about all three games last night? Whatever it went. So the first game went over the first half. The second game went under the first half, and flip-flop for the game. So the late two went over in the first half, but under for the game. I'm sorry, first one, whatever. They went vice versa, all three of them. They're kind of all over. Let's get to the games tonight. Listen, 15-2 the favorite straight up, 11-4 against the spread. The market knows it and is backing it in that way. Miami minus 7.5. They rolled Atlanta in the first game. 70% of the tickets at Bet Rivers and 84% of total money wagered is on the Miami Heat plus 7.5.
Wait, minus 7.5.
7.5, yeah.
Okay.
Similar action, even more so with Phoenix against the Pelicans. 82% of the tickets on Phoenix minus 9.5, and 90% of all the money, the handle, is on Phoenix minus 9.5. It's not my favorite bet, but I'm definitely taking both dogs in those two games and just fading the public. And again, it's a strong trend. It's going to revert back to the mean as soon. Zigzag theory is kind of nice. And these are 1-8 matchups. It's not like it's real even, but still, I like the way the Pelicans came back in. Trae Young can't play any worse than what he did and shoot it. And keep in mind, both of those teams were playing 3 games in 5 days. 3 games in 5 days. At the number one seed at all different places, and they had really low point production in the first half because of it. Pels, their lowest first half scoring all year. In Atlanta, their second lowest all year. I don't think it's coincidental. My favorite pick though is tonight to go back to Memphis, and I just think this 2-7 matchup is. I think you got some real matchup problems for Memphis in this thing. Karl Anthony Towns is too agile and too good of a shooter for Adams to go out on the perimeter and guard him. And Jaren Jackson Jr., who is a top 5 finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, he threw him through the rim one time on a dunk on Saturday. They led for about 45 of the 48 minutes. A lot of people are zigzagging on this one. I'm taking Minnesota plus the 7. I think it's going to be a very long series. I like the 7 points. I think it's going to be a very close game again tonight in game 2.
All right. So Otter's going with 2 underdogs, the Hawks and the Pels, and then actually all 3, and going with Minnesota
all 3 for
all 3. Yeah, and his favorite play of the night is Minnesota.
And I got you a little money line parlay. Both big favorites, but it comes back even. It comes back even. San Diego against the Reds. Musgrove. No, not Chuck, not Allison, not Matthew or Charles, but Joe Musgrove. Joe Musgrove is throwing tonight for the Padres, the real athlete in the family. But anyway, Smokey can win. But anyway, Milwaukee and Burns against Brubacher. So both are big favorites. Brubacher's been getting shelled. The Reds have lost 7 in a row. This is much of a fade as it is on the home team with decisive pitching advantages. San Diego, Milwaukee, money line parlay.
1 minute remaining.
All right. Could you hear the 1 minute remaining thing?
Hello. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right. All right, Honor. Well, I don't even, all this extra time, I don't even know what to do now. All right, Honor is at Mike Anderson's. Y'all get by and see him. Honor, thanks. Have a great show.
Mama Moscona said hello. Good job. It again.
I'll tell you. All right. We'll see you. That's Jimmy Ott. Have a great show, Honor. Honor follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com. Hey, we have time for it. Hughes, what'd you learn?
I learned I wasn't expecting to have time for it today.
So you didn't write anything
Nope.
down. Paulie, did you write anything down?
I did not. Creatures of habit. Matt, did you learn anything?
I learned a lot. I learned that you two don't pay attention during the show. I learned that Otter can't fill the final 60 seconds. See you tomorrow.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. I learned we got to start doing that again. southpointvw.com, new and certified, pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. 9 different IIHS top safety picks. The highest safety, I was going to say the safest safety, the highest safety designation a vehicle can get. So when you sit behind the wheel of a Volkswagen, when you strap, like every day when I strap Drew into his car seat in a Volkswagen, I drive with the peace of mind knowing that if something were to happen, we're in one of the safest vehicles on the road. I get that peace of mind. But I also, I got that pedal. When I tell it to go, it'll go. You get the great German engineering, the electric sunroof, the digital dash display, power, everything, style, feel, performance of luxury without the cost, and manufactured right here in the USA at their Tennessee plant. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. South Point Volkswagen.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support